friends, welcome back or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum. And in today's video, we're going to talk about my January TBR. So all the books I plan to read in the month of January. And in 2025, I am going to have less rollovers and be more mindful of my reading goals. I've already decided I am not signing up for a million read-alongs to where I can't keep up with them anymore. My max is 4. That's it. That's all. No more. If I have FOMO, too bad. No, Jake, don't you start anymore. I'm not joining. That's it. I've met my quota. But unfortunately, as you could probably tell from that, I do still have a couple rollovers from December. So let's go ahead and jump into that. I still haven't finished Goldfinch, which is the 6th and final Plated Prisoner book, but I did start it yesterday. And I read about 70 pages in one sitting, and it's reading very quickly, and I'm definitely enjoying it. Jumping back into this, the stakes are high. I need answers. I need resolutions. I need to watch the story unfold, and I'm hyped to get back to it and read it. I just won't be able to do it before midnight tonight because it's New Year's Eve as I'm filming this. So it will carry on into my January TBR. But I have at least started it, so that's something. The other carryover I have is The Trial of Rooker Flynn, and this is the second book in the Locke Institute trilogy by A.R. Witham. And I enjoyed the first book a lot, and I have the e-arc of the second book, and I believe it comes out for everyone in the middle of January. So it's definitely something I need to prioritize in the next week or so. Get my review out there before it goes live for everyone. And I have heard really great things and seen some really high ratings from some of my friends. And I definitely enjoyed the first book, so I'm really looking forward to that one as well. So, you heard me mention 4 read-alongs that I'm doing, and let's just go ahead and jump into those. So, the first one of those is going to be our Discord Buddy Read for the Thrill, Chill, or Kill read-along, and that is, of course, our thriller or horror pick. We do one a month. And January's pick is Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. And from what I know of the premise of this, you have 2 women meeting in a scenario where they both have trauma in their past, and they come to some kind of arrangement of you kill for me and I'll kill for you kind of deal, I guess, to get revenge on the people who caused them trauma. We'll see. I have actually gotten a bit of a head start on this one. I think I'm on chapter like 6 or 7 right now. I started the audiobook earlier today when I needed an audio because the only things left on my December TBR were a physical book and an ebook that I didn't have audio for. But I did have the opportunity to listen to something while I was doing some stuff that I needed to get done around the house. So I got a head start on that and I'm enjoying it so far. I didn't have the best luck with our 2024 Thrill, Chill, or Kill picks, so I'm hoping that I have way better luck in 2025. The next read-along, of course, is also on our Discord, the Bookish Drummer Discord, and it's our fantasy read-along. And that is going to be The Lies of Locke Lamora. And this will be my 3rd time reading this. Yes, my 3rd. I still haven't yet picked up the sequels, and I want to read this and refresh myself and finally actually read the sequels. The first time I read this, I almost DNF'd it, which is surprising. And then the second time I read this, I picked it up on audio and I had a way better experience with it. I think just knowing what to expect and also just having Michael Page kind of bring the humor out in the characters and bring the story to life a bit more helped me a lot. I also was a way more seasoned fantasy reader the second time I picked this up, and so I was used to more slow pacing. And I also just knew not to expect like a ton of magic up front in book 1 for the series. And so the second time I read it, I gave it a 5-star rating. I'm anticipating having a great time with my reread, and I'm hoping that I love the sequels just as much. I have this wild theory that book 3 in the series is going to be my favorite because I've heard that it goes into more of like the politics of the world and a bit more of the magic, which is one of the most fascinating things about book 1 that I wanted more on. And so I know it's like a hot take for people to say that book 3 is their favorite. I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be my favorite, but we shall find out in March, I guess. The 3rd read-along is also on the Bookish Drummer Discord, but Jake didn't start this one for once. Shocker. Ian, Fina, and I have decided to get together and do a John Mars read-along of his books. And so if you didn't see that announcement video, it's up in the cards here. But we're, for the most part, doing one a month, but 2 in March because of his new release. And we're kind of alternating with like universe books, which are like standalones, but in a series where the subsequent books kind of have mentions of things in the previous books that are kind of no context spoilers. So if you're sensitive to that, you know, you want to stick to the reading order. And then in the other months, we're going to be doing what I'm going to call his true standalones, which are his domestic thrillers. And in January, we're starting off with one of his true standalone domestic thrillers, and it's his debut, When You Disappeared. And from what I know of this, you follow a married couple, and you're following mostly the wife, I think, as the husband's like decided one day to up and leave, but she is adamant that like something's wrong, he wouldn't just leave. And then I think he ends up reappearing like years later, and she finally gets to uncover the truth of like what's going on. And the tagline is like, she'll wish she hadn't. It's all she wanted was the truth, but she'll wish she never found out. So I'm definitely intrigued on how the plot of this goes and looking forward to diving into more of his work because I've really enjoyed some of his thrillers in the past. And then the fourth read along that I'm committing to, the last one in my quota, is the Faithful and the Fallen read-along that Becca over at Becca in the Books is hosting with her Catch-Up Book Club. And so I'm going to be squeezing in Malice at the start of this month. I think the way they're kind of structured, they do like one every other month with the live show and like the first 2 weeks of the following month. And so the live show for this is going to be like second weekend of January, I think. I'll have to double check on that. But anyway, this is like priority for me to pick up very early this month. And I had originally started this series on audio several years back, but I found it a little too complex to follow in audio. There were too many things kind of that I had theories about or that I was trying to like weave together and paint a bigger picture of in my brain of like who's from where. And I also thought that there was like the same character called by multiple names, and then the names are also similar too. And so it was just too much on audio. So I put the physical books on my wish list and finally was gifted them for my birthday this past year. And I figured there's no better time to jump back into this and enjoy it now that I can actually like draw out a character map and take my time and go reread sentences here or there to try and make theories. And I'm really excited to get back to this now that I know I can read it properly and get really invested. So there is another read along, but I'm not committing to participating in it. And that, of course, is the Stephen King read along that Ian and Jake are doing. But I am intrigued by January's book, and so I may pop in for January. And that is Different Seasons, of course, by Stephen King. And this is a collection of 4 novellas. And my main interest in this is that Shawshank Redemption is probably one of my favorite movies, or at least it was when I was younger. I haven't watched it in a while, but I'm sure I would still enjoy it. And the novella that movie is based on is part of this collection, and I've never read it, so I'm excited to go back and check out the source material. I have already read Apt People, so I'll probably skip over that in the read along and just read the other 2 novellas in here, and I think it's The Body and the Breathing Method. So if I have time while this happens to be a read along buddy read, I will hop in and read it. I'm not committing that I'm going to get there, but I will probably at least commit to reading the first novella, Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, because I have so much love for the movie. Next up, I have a buddy read planned with Pat, our mod, Pat Sava, and we're going to be starting a buddy read of the Daevabad trilogy. So the first book, City of Brass, is going to be January. And this is something we've been meaning to do for a while, but we keep pushing it back because one of us, probably mostly me, ends up busy or behind on their TBR. But now that I am not in the middle of like 7 read-alongs and I'm not behind on them, January is finally the time we had said we're going to do this. So I'm excited to reread City of Brass so that I can continue on with the series finally. So that was kind of the section of the books like I'm committed to reading in January that I have to. And then I want to talk about a few that I might get to as long as I have time and things aren't too crazy. And the first one in that category for me is Jade War, the second book in the Greenbone saga. I recently just reread Jade City so that I could move on and continue the series and finish it out this time. And I enjoyed my reread of that a lot more than I enjoyed it the first time I read it. So I'm definitely even more excited to jump into Jade War and check it out. Another book I'd like to get to, if I have time, is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. And this is a contemporary romance that I think has an accidental pregnancy trope, which normally I wouldn't gravitate towards, but I've heard really great things about it from several booktubers. So I'd like to get to that one if I have time while I'm still excited to get to it. And then the last book that's on my kind of like might get to is Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. And this is one that I have not been spoiled for. I don't know what it's about really or what happens. And I've heard that if you don't know, you definitely need to read it and find out before you are spoiled or before you watch the movie. And I have reasons for putting this on my MBR, which I cannot tell you, but they will become apparent at some points, probably mid-January. But either way, I do know that this is supposed to be a very like tense book, high stakes, and those are things that I love in a book. So I am excited to try this, and this will definitely fit into my reading goal of reading some physical books off my shelves, especially ones that are here for me and not for both Jake and I. So yeah, nothing like getting a head start on some of the goals I have set for myself this year and opening things up with a book that should suit my taste. So that was it for the books I plan to and hope to read in the month of January. Let me know what on here you are most excited for me to read. Are you joining in on any of the buddy reads or read-alongs happening? Also, let me know what's on your January TBR. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget... Why is this so hard? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye!